So, Mark, thanks. This has been amazing. This is my fourth one, I think, fourth one this year. So, from my perspective, it's just getting to learn from guys like you, Brad, and everyone else that's involved and kind of committing to this time frame, a little bit of the monetary commitment, but like really just learning from you guys. So, what made you even get to the point of starting this on your journey? Because you are a full-time builder. You're not just the guy that has a podcast that does these great groups.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. So I first met Brad a couple years ago. I was on his podcast, and 30 days later, I started one. And, like you do things where people say, hey, you can't make money in a podcast. So what I do in the first year, make money. It's like, we are driven by doing things that people say we either shouldn't do or can't do. And like most entrepreneurs, we love it when people tell us we can't do something because it promotes our internal fire. But I got so much enjoyment and excitement from working with other builders and just picking their brains. And actually, I got to give credit to Reese, who you met from Adaptive. Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, he's one of our sponsors with the podcast and now the collectives. He came to Minnesota and said, and they're primarily around, financial bill pay, things like that. And he said, could you get builders together? It was like 3 weeks after Christmas. And I'm like, I can try. 30 owners showed up, and I immediately knew, A, this is a business idea, and B, there's so much hunger for this because it's not available for entrepreneurs. So I started the Curious Builder Collective right then and there. So we had a full year in Minnesota. We have the builder groups. We have 24 builders. We have a design group. We have 18 designers, and we have a architect group of 12. And so because really entrepreneurship is not exclusive to being a builder like you and I, it's for everybody. And it's really talking branding, marketing, contracting. So, but I wanted to build something that was scalable without me. So I reached out to Brad Levitt, who I'm good friends with, and I said, hey, Brad, would you do one in Arizona? And I've got, several other ambassadors throughout the states. Brad said, sure, let's do it. And so this is actually my first one that I've been to outside of Minnesota.
Okay.
And so just because I can't go to all of them, that's the whole point of having a scalable operation and having people like Brad. And so seeing everyone here, it's the same spirit as in Minnesota. It's the same spirit as going to happen in Seattle. And so because we're all people dealing with the same thing. And I learned a couple of things from you today. And so it's not really like Brad knows a lot or I know a lot. It's just we're very open with sharing everything. Yeah. And I think when you are so open with sharing everything, it invites everyone else to be vulnerable as well. Like Tony in the group is like, hey, can I email you my contracts? I'm like, sure. He's like, hey, I think this might help you on your spec home that you were talking about. Okay, wow, amazing.
Right.
You gave me that idea that I was joking before I had about for my wife. And like today's topic was hospitality and what industry could we learn a lot from? And I love what you shared. I wrote it down is, go to a hotel that's like 3, 4, 5, 10x what you would normally spend and write it off as a business expense. I'm totally going to do this. And I'll document it. I'll videotape it because it's how much do we learn from these other industries? And I suspect you're a little bit like me because all entrepreneurs are somewhat similar in the fact that like we're constantly interested in how other businesses operate, right? Because we want to know like how can I apply that to my business? And so hearing everyone today talk about it is super inspiring, and it's really doing exactly what I hoped and dreamed it would.
Yeah, and to that, I mean, especially when I was starting, and so for me, like groups like this, Entrepreneur Organization is another group I'm part of. Like I felt like I was on an island. You think there's people out there that want to share, but I joined the first group and all of a sudden you get access, or the idea is to look for other groups out there, but especially in the builder community. It seems like there, until recently, really hasn't been anything. In fact, I know Builder 20 has been around a long time, but I didn't even find a Builder 20 group until Brad mentioned it. And the only reason that Brad mentioned it is because we were having a conversation at the contractor summit that he put on, which I traveled to another state for, even though he's here locally, right? Sometimes it's intimidating to reach out to other people. You think, oh, maybe I'm wasting his time or something like that. But then when you go to events like that, it just opens up this possibility of all these relationships and all of this knowledge that clearly everybody is willing to share, who at least attends those events.
Well, and Brad and I are partners on Contractor Coalition, which you went to Austin.
Yep.
And I went to Nashville for the first time, and now I'm a part of it. And that's like a 3-4 day, like intense, like Buttercup. It's like a boot camp. This was meant to be, we all have people reach out to us in our network, or we reach out to other builders in our network or designers to have coffee. But like, it's very sporadic. It's usually not planned. It's like, oh, hey, do you have time for coffee? And I'm not minimizing. Those are wonderful. Yeah. And you should continue to do those. But I wanted something that was predictable, dependable, but also much more focused. And, you go to a coffee shop with another builder and I talk about life and all kinds of different things. And that's great. Right. That's wonderful. But I wanted people to know what they were going to get, what they were going to talk about, and have a very set period, like some structure.
Yeah.
We don't go and build a house without a plan, without designs. Like you need structure in order to build a home. And I thought, man, I really know personally that I benefit when other people provide structure for me. And I thought, you know what? I'll work with my team. We'll create it so it's super easy for Brad. Like Brad's job and the other ambassador's job is to get butts in seats. Like their job is to get the builders in the room because no one knows who Mark Williams is in Phoenix.
Right.
But they know who Brad Levitt is.
Yeah.
And so you show up for Brad and those relationships, and then we take care of all the back end, all the talking points, all the notes, all the organization, all the emails, honestly, all the unsexy stuff.
Yeah.
That has to happen,
the grind.
or this doesn't work. And then of course you get our partners, our vendors, these beautiful showrooms that we get to tour. And there's just so much cross collaboration. I'd never even heard of Garaza, and now I'm going to try to get him into my Misahu's project back in Minnesota. And so the world just ends up being a lot smaller than we think it is when we just start engaging with our community.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, like what you said, the coffees, the lunches, they're great, but oftentimes you go down a rabbit hole and you forget to cover the thing that you came to cover. Whereas with this group, we knew what we were going to talk about today, what the timelines were. We knew there'd be a rotation to get other opinions. And so you can get through that, get to the meat of it, and then post that or even pre that, you're having the other networking, you're creating the other relationships. And it's really kind of the best of both worlds because you get a little bit of freewheeling, but then you have a lot of structure to go through and do those, not deep dives, but really meaningful conversations that, we could take 3 pages of notes from and go execute a multi-million-dollar strategy out of one thing that somebody shared.
Well, and my hope too is like by having a regular cadence of 4 times a year is that, maybe there's a couple builders within the group that you connect with and you're like, hey, I love what we talked about. Let's meet up outside of this. And like, I hope the community continues to coalesce and kind of work together. I just want to create a format where people have a way to get together. And then, I mentioned it before that, we're going to try once a year to have all the collectives in the country actually get together for like a 2-day event. We're still iterating on what that is, but I can tell you that the hunger and the thirst and the excitement that's happening here is happening everywhere. And so I know, plus how fun is it when you're in other markets? How many more ideas do you get? I mean, think of how many ideas are discussed here and you're all in the same market. You start talking about, people that are, Minnesota or, obviously out on the coast or wherever they might be. I mean, how fun would it be to have an international collective to learn about different practices? Like I know in Europe, like the way they look at building is so different than they do here. I would love to have something, international, like sort of a flavor.
That'd be amazing. I mean, I can tell you just this year into my first Builder 20 group, it's been amazing the amount of learning I've done from those different perspectives nationwide. So to expand this or have the opportunity for more of us on the collective to get together for all of what could be there. And even from the Contractor Coalition Summit, I mean, the people that I talked to at the very first one and the ones that I've met since then, there are guys that I do work with, I partner with on occasion. We send referrals to for stuff that doesn't make sense for us. But since I've gotten to know them and I know they really care and they'll show up, we can refer to them. So there's all this additional benefit, which is really just icing on the cake. But the reality is like the base content is there and then it promotes this just like flowering of immense opportunity elsewhere.
Well, and people keep showing up in similar places. Like the group, not half the group. 30% of the group have been at the Contractor Coalition Summit. Like I already knew some of them.
Yeah.
You were at the one that I didn't go to in Austin. But like, it's still like the alumni heritage, if you will.
Right.
Again, it's that spirit of collaboration, competition over competition. Oh my goodness. Collaboration over competition.
Yeah.
It's practically a bumper sticker on what I say every single day. And it's people like Brad that first sort of, not that he offered, I'm sure he was inspired by somebody else. We all inspire somebody. And we're inspired by those around us. And so all you do is really just share about it. So
like I think the best of the best, right, are the people that want to share and they know that there's more business than any of us can get to. And so improving the overall market, improving the overall industry is just the best path forward because like to Brad's credit, I think the very first summit he did was 9 or 10 builders from his own market. And then, I mean, I know when I went, there was a lot of guys from Arizona. And then there's a lot of builders when we do these in the same exact market because we all live in the same market. So, but we're all here sharing best practices, opening our playbooks, right? Spilling the secret sauce, so to speak. But there's no fear that anyone's going to take something and like do something with it that I couldn't do or he couldn't do or anything like that.
I mean, I think that people that come to these are open-minded and they want to learn and they want to share. Like it doesn't work if you just take, right? Everyone is so open and everyone shares. And that's why, honestly, when I pick an ambassador, like they have to embody those traits. And so like, the Curious Collectives are only successful if the leadership is also promoting people from within to have a voice. And so it's really fun to hear people, I've been interviewing a few people, post the meeting and just say, what have you learned? What have you applied to your business? And it's amazing to hear these awesome success stories. There's enough work for everyone, especially that abundance mentality. And so really what you're doing, like, I'm sure if I lived in Phoenix and I'm like, oh man, Nick's doing great. Like we inspire each other.
Yeah.
And it's better for the community. It's better for the builders. And honestly, it's better for everybody's business.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because even if it's something where you've got multiple builders walking a job together and someone picks up an improvement, I mean, the clients are seeing the net result of that, right? And so there's way more work than we can get to. Let's build the best possible product we can in really an industry that's shrinking. The human capital is shrinking faster than we can replace it. So we might as well do the best that we can with what we've got.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bright future.
It's going to be great. Thank you.